Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm here with Mark Garnett from the Montana Viking channel. We are doing a video collab with him. It's the third time we're doing this. And we are actually doing a video for his channel as well, talking about marijuana and alcohol usage and Christianity and stuff. It's gonna be very interesting. So check out his channel description. It's in the description, the link to his channel there, so you can check it out. He's putting out a lot of good content. So be sure to check it out. Subscribe as well if you haven't subscribed to either one of our channels, just so you can get updated. Brings encouragement for us too when you do that. But today we are talking, as you can see from the title, about the LGBTQ, and I think they have a plus now.
You forgot I too.
Is I a new one?
I for intersex, I think, right?
That's actually one now, though.
I think
they keep adding letters to that, man. Okay, anyways, so this in recent news, they within the last month, there was this big national organization. I'll link a couple articles in the description as well, so you can read this. But a big LGBTQ plus national organization that demanded that the Biden administration strip all Christian schools, colleges, and universities of their accreditation if they did not have some sort of anti-discrimination policy, or if they didn't adopt an anti-discrimination policy against people of the LGBTQ community. And so that is what we are talking about right now. Mark, what do you think about that? How's that make you feel?
That, if you're the president of Bible college, you're thinking about these things right now. I guarantee you that the Assemblies of God right now, they're thinking about these things. I wonder what conversations. I wish I could be at those meetings where they're talking about it.
Yeah, and see what they're
saying.
Hear
an echo by chance?
No.
No, okay. But yeah, I wish I could be at those conversations where they're talking about it. I wonder what they're saying. How do you even prepare for something like that if you're the president of Bible college and everything? I don't, how do you respond to it? I don't even know what they do and everything. Yeah. But what I'll say though, one encouraging-ish kind of things is that it looks like Joe Biden, he had the decision of, hey, are we going to put like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, some of the more like socialist minded Democrats into his administration? It doesn't look like he's doing that. More moderate Democrats. Well, I guess we'll see when his cabinet comes out, just how hostile it is towards, Christianity and that stance on sexual morality and everything. But it'll be really, I would say, look at who his cabinet is and see how hostile they are towards, our beliefs. Yeah.
And just go into this. I think this specifically, something for me that's interesting. So homosexual marriage was legalized how many years ago now?
2014, 2015?
Yeah, somewhere around there. So about 5 years ago. So that was one thing. Again, just starting out speaking for myself. I believe that scripture says that homosexuality is a sin. In Matthew 19:5, Jesus quotes from the Old Testament, Genesis chapter 2:24, affirming that marriage is between one man and one woman. And so even though that the nation nationally has legalized gay marriage, doesn't mean that it is recognized in God's eyes. And so that's what I believe the scripture says. And there's other verses as well that affirm that too. So we're coming from it from that angle. First off, gay marriage with anything, with any group, I think there are extremists. There's extreme liberals, there's extreme Republicans, conservatives, there's extreme everything. There's extreme everything. And I think for the most part, when it comes to the gay community, I think the majority of them just want to have the same rights. But then you have those extremists like this group here who start taking these rights and they want to, their beliefs, what they believe is right and want to apply it to other people or force it upon other people. Now the gay marriage thing, that made me is like, because I believe homosexuality is a sin, but at the same time, like, hey, if you want to do that, if you want to choose to sin, realizing that there's consequences for every decision you make, whether those are good consequences or bad consequences, that's on you. Okay. As long as like you're not coming into my church and trying to force me to do a gay wedding in our church building, or even trying to have a gay wedding in our building, okay, go ahead, do that. When you're trying to force institutions to try to adopt your views, you're trying to force it upon other people, I think that is not okay. That's I think, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this, but I think that's the next step. And I think for a lot of these groups that's how it starts. They first start out like, oh no, I just want the best for me. But then they start going a little bit more extreme, like, oh no, I want you to be forced to do these type of things as well. And so I think that's what we're seeing. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we just see in life oftentimes is the slippery slope argument.
Mm-hmm.
And we see the slippery slope. And I get into just logic and reasoning, but really it's a logical fallacy, the slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's listed. If you go through logical fallacies, like it's listed there. And yet so much of the time we see it's prophetic and it comes true. And if you look at where the United States was, 14, 15, when it was legalized, though, the Supreme Court doesn't make legislation. And so was it legalized? There was just that decision there.
Yeah.
But it's surprising how fast, how rapidly everything is just changing and everything. And I think it's because that decision in 2014, 2015. And Joe Biden said, hey, the human rights issue of our day, of our time, of his administration, really, it's trans rights. And so when you hear that as a Christian or as a president of Bible college or as a pastor, you're thinking through that. And if they're saying, hey, if you won't hire because of trans, you've got a 20-year-old guy who says, no, I'm a 20-year-old woman. Well, now that's discrimination, and there can be lawsuits for that. You can lose possessions over that.
Yeah.
Thousands and tens thousands. How much is violating human rights? I mean, what's the dollar amount for that? It's probably pretty high. I mean, you get sued pretty high and everything. But I think that we'll see things codified more as like hate speech first. They'll target speech first, and then down the road after that, it'll be more lawsuits, and it'll cost people not just for speech, but later financially it'll cost people.
Wasn't it I don't know how long ago I read an article where, wasn't it a governor in the South, not in the South, like close to Texas, maybe Arizona or somewhere around there, New Mexico, that said that pastors had to start turning in their sermons or something like that for pre-approval. And
I remember
that never went anywhere, but like,
yeah,
that, I mean, eventually we're going to get to that point in the United States. And, for me, I see this type of stuff and I'm like, it's only the beginning. It's just going to get worse. Scripture tells us that persecution of Christianity is normal. But for me, going back to this topic here, I don't know why, if I were in the LGBTQ community, why I would want to go to a college that's beliefs oppose my lifestyle. You know what I mean? Or why I would even want to, I could see wanting to teach there because you could kind of come in and being like, okay, I want to try to change this. But
really we see there's like darkness and there's light, and darkness doesn't like the light. And so sometimes they'll try to run from the light, and over time there's even more of a hostility towards the light, and we're seeing more of the hostility kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where at first, I would say, especially with Genesis 4, at first, and that's kind of a can of worms. You have Cain offering a sacrifice and Abel offering a sacrifice to God. And God accepts Abel's sacrifice. Well, Cain is just filled with anger. He's filled with rage and hatred towards Abel. And God tells Cain, hey, sin, it's knocking at your door. Its desire is for you, and you have to master it. So sin wants authority over our lives. It wants dominion over our lives.
Yeah.
And we have to decide, hey, are we going to be master over it, or is it going to master us? But we're just seeing more of a hostility and everything.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, maybe we don't have too much more to talk about this, but I think it's only the beginning. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, this is a demand they made, but the Biden administration, they have no power over the Biden administration. They can't force the Biden administration to do this. At the same time, as of late, Biden himself, and I'm sure Kamala, how do you say her name? Harris, they've both shown support for these things. So it'll be interesting to see if they decide or try to move forward with this. An interesting thing, just a little rant here. Biden was in the 90s, signed a bill that did not help the LGBTQ community at all. In fact, it went against what they try to push for. And then in 2012, he changed his tune when he was vice president for Obama. And then there's Trump, who, for me, I had to pray a lot about who to vote for. I had to pray whether to vote for Trump or not. I wasn't going to vote for Biden, but I had to pray whether to vote for Trump or not, because there's a lot of his things that don't match up with the Bible. And one of those things is that he is one of the most pro-homosexual presidents in the last few decades to be in the White House. He supports the gay marriage national law that came into place. He's the first president to assign homosexual ambassadors for the United States, have homosexual people or LGBTQ people in his cabinet. He's really one of the most friendliest LGBTQ presidents that we've had in a very long time. Or Democrat.
Yeah, he's the first president to go into his presidency supporting gay marriage and everything.
Where for a lot of times they started doing it after they were in the presidency, but
President Obama, I mean, he did that years into his second term. And so even in the second term, like no one supported it within with national figure and everything. Or it was really, what would you call it? Just frowned upon. In the 90s and 2000s, I mean, that was kind of the big fight for Christianity. You had the Defense of Marriage Act.
Yeah.
And there was bipartisan support for it, really. And so you even just think about that with the Defense of Marriage Act, it was overwhelming bipartisan support. And that was under George W. Bush that got that through. But nowadays, no, there's overwhelming bipartisan support the other way.
Yeah.
In just a really short amount of time. The other thing